everybody, it's hashtag the Hammer, Glenn Schofield from Sledgehammer Games, here to talk to you about our recent update, which those of you that incessantly bitch about our game, yet log in every single day because you're hooked more than a stage 5 clinger, Virgin. This new update came out right before Valentine's Day, since we know our audience is forever alone, and we'll be playing it before blowing up their girlfriends for the evening. We're putting in tons of new beepity bops to play dress up with in an FPS game to water down the supply drop chances of you getting a hold of 2 brand new weapons, both revolver style pistols, the Enfield #2 and the Reich revolver. And if you're excited about us putting new content in the game, these weapons were data mined way back in November when the game first launched, so we definitely locked this content off that should have been in the game on day 1. I mean, who the fuck has 2 thumbs and releases a World War II style game without a revolver pistol in it at launch? This guy, who's now doing a pose that really shows off my 2 guns, which are definitely more powerful than the ones we just ungated. However, if you equip Duelist with any pistol, even though we nerfed that basic training last patch to not have faster fire rates than its single counterpart, as you can see in the background gameplay, it's still pretty overpowered as fuck, especially on PC with steady aim, and if you use the Resistance class with tier 3 rewards having an extra pistol attachment that can also give you extended mags. I mean, look at what happens when your secondaries are 2-shot kills, and with akimbo, they could both be fired at the same time, and it seems like a 1-shot kill, kinda like we're playing the man with the golden gun game mode in GoldenEye 64.
Oh, no.
Brian,
Watch how stupid this is.
Dude, nah.
What's with the jump shot?
I had to reload. I had to jump around out of the way.
Yeah. I respect it, Brian, I respect it.
But hey, at least there's 2 more new guns to put those 300 plus pistol grips onto. Speaking of the Resistance class, we added a toggle similar to Airborne with the Suppressor, where the tier 2 Scrambler and tier 4 Indicator can be turned off by basically making the Resistance class mostly useless, since you're removing half of the benefits in one button push, which is only good if you're not playing hardcore mode anyways. Sure, Scrambler is more of a detriment than an actual perk, which is probably why it was only in Modern Warfare 2 and never seen again since. Also, the maps in our game are the size of Condry's arms, so this way it makes the range seem more prevalent, and I know people will be happy that they won't get shot through those buildable walls in war anymore, since the Indicator is on the minimap to give away your position. But now it makes the new division only good for players that like to melee in a shooter game, aka those douche canoes at the club that spill their fancy drinks on you. Another thing that makes hardcore players scratch their heads is the fact that sometimes enemy and friendly player tags don't show up, so you might accidentally get kicked for team killing by mistake, so we fixed a spawning issue that caused this to happen. We hinted at adjusting score streaks in a previous blog post, and the first one we're buffing is the paratroopers to not spawn in with shovels or the serrated basic training, which basically made them more useless than fallopian tubes on a lesbian. And they also no longer target enemy aerial score streaks, so that this way other score streaks will be better and your paratroopers will behave more like actual players, ignoring helping out the team for their own benefit, kinda like that meme of the car on the highway like we posted in our weekly community update, but more on that later. We also patched some bugs where the counters weren't working properly for the combat record, because here at Sledgehammer Games, math isn't our strong suit. Oh, and we'll just throw in the patch notes some generic terms like various UI fixes and improvements to make it look like we've done more than we actually did. Oh, and of course we'll push out the patch before the notes are actually available, so that this way you asshats can try and figure it out on your own, and we can figure out what we actually broke when we made the updates, like empty supply drop items on Xbox One, since PS4 gave Activision, spelled with a $, more money, so we put more QA testing on that system. system. But over on the hashtag PC Master Race, where surprise, surprise, we've actually been rolling out patches at the same time that consoles gets them, and not weeks later like previous iterations of the game. What a novel fucking concept to keep everybody at the same levels. There's now an HQ menu so you could buy contracts and acquire orders without having to load the entire social space just to pick up some carrots to dangle, since big surprise, Call of Duty nerds are actually antisocial and lone wolves. They don't even want to be in the HQ, which is where I'd want to be, mixing it up kind of on the dance floor at the clubs. Lastly, in updates, we've added the 9mm SAP to zombies, even though we added that weapon in the last patch, so maybe the next update we'll add the revolvers into zombies. Gotta stay employed somehow, right? Speaking of the coming soon black hole, we had a blog post which will be doing weekly updates in the same vein that Respawn did with Titanfall, because we're still riding on the coattails of the old Infinity Ward, and even 9 years later. We patted ourselves on the back for finally adding in the flat gun event 3 months after talking about it during the reveal live streams way back during E3, and since we got called out on it, we're gonna pull a Bungie and look at XP being lowered in the war game mode, which we wanted to sneak it past you guys in order to sell some more supply drops with double XP tokens in it, but you guys are way too smart for us. Haha, you guys are good, you fuckers. We're still trying to work on the 4-player parties and ranked play, even though Overwatch, within the Activision Blizzard umbrella, has a scheme of doing 2 different MMRs, one for parties and one for solo queue, along with putting together a custom community playlist with your favorite game modes like Prop Hunt and Demolition, which are now out and replaced by Gun Game for people that like to AFK contract farm and Carrington 24/7. And no, that's not Winter Carrington that everyone has. It's the regular Carrington, only available to Season Pass owners because we want your money. So, sorry everyone that thought you were getting Dom XL or one that we already haven't put out this time around, because we're not going to give you what you want since we know better, and even though our decisions indicate that we have no idea what fun actually is. Oh, and I know that Michelle Condry hinted at the paint shop would be tied to the Resistance event or DLC or some other French fucking bullshit that he put on Reddit, but it's becoming like Infinite Warfare's leaderboards now. Functionality expected on launch that's still not yet delivered, because just like you and carrots for contracts, we need to-dos on our whiteboards in order to keep us interested in the game that we actually made.